So there you are. You got the admission. You have received your admission letter, the long-awaited admission letter, and you're extremely excited. But then the reality hits you that the tuition fee for that university is $25,000. They have given you a scholarship for $5,000. So you have to come up with the remaining $20,000. You do not have any funding options. You do not have any savings. You do not have any backup plan. So what do you do next? If that is you, keep watching this video because I'm going to teach you what you should do next. Hello. Hi, everybody. My name is Sylvie. I'm a full-time scholarship grantee, and I am here to teach you how to go get your own scholarship. So in today's video, we are going to start by doing a scenario analysis for students who get admissions, but they do not get funding. And by the end of the video, I'm also going to tell you what you should do. But let us start with this scenario analysis. And as I'm doing this analysis, I want you to be asking yourself, where do you fall in this? Or did you think about this when you started your application process? So let us begin with scenario A. Scenario A is the scenario where you have gotten admissions, and then maybe you get, let's say, 80% funding. If you get 80% funding, when you were applying to that university, what was the plan for the remaining 20%? This 20% that we have here as the deficit of what is required, what was your plan? Had you made plans for where you're going to get the money, how you're going to make up for this 20%? Like, did you do that scenario analysis? All right, let's do scenario analysis B. You have gotten admission, right? And then you get 50% tuition, let's say maybe a scholarship that covers 50%, and then you are 50% deficit. What was the plan for in case you have a 50% tuition waiver and then you have to come up with the remaining tuition waiver? What was the plan? Did you have a plan? Okay, let us do the next scenario analysis where this is scenario C, right? You get admission, and then you get 0% funding, which means that you have to come up with 100% of your tuition and everything. Did you do an analysis of this situation prior to you applying? Did you do this or you didn't? And if you did, what was the plan? Where was the remaining money going to come from, right? And let's even say that we have a scenario D where you get admissions and you get 100% funding. Remember, 100% funding means that you have to pay your flight to the country, you have to pay for your accommodation, you have to take care of yourself, at least right through till the point where you get some kind of stability in the country and maybe get like your student passport or your student permit that you can use in order to apply for jobs. So regardless of the situation, you see that it is extremely important that you do scenario analysis and have it mapped out in your head before you even begin your university abroad application. Because with most of these universities, right, you have to pay your tuition fee, you have to pay your application fee. So just imagine a situation where you spend maybe $100 or maybe $150 to come up and apply for this particular program or this particular university, and then you do not do the scenario analysis. When you get that admission letter and you're all excited, then the reality hits you that, oh, you have gotten $5,000 in scholarship and you have to come up with the remaining $20,000. What do you do? What is the plan? Let me tell you what you are going to do. So step one of what you can do is reach out to the international student office at the university where you have gotten an admission. So you're reaching out to them to ask them that, are there any particular funding opportunities that are available that you can avail? Because sometimes you will find that there can be some funding options, but they are not made available to the public. They may have scholarship databases that are just within the university, and because you're not yet a student of the university, you do not have access to those options. But if you reach out to the International Student Office and ask them for what options are available, they can make that information available to you, and they can tell you what scholarships that you can apply for, or if they have some particular tuition deferral programs, they can give you all of that information. Number two, contact the department that granted you admissions. Most times, departments actually have funding. This is maybe for particular research that they are doing at the department. Maybe it's for particular development programs. Maybe it's for particular support programs. And this funding is there for them to use. At the end of the year, maybe they may have used all of that money or they may not have used it. But it is in you reaching out to them and asking for what funding options are available, that they can be like, oh, yeah, we actually have funding. And maybe they had not thought about, oh, we can actually give this to students to come study in the form of scholarships. But if you reach out to them and ask them, and they have some kind of funding at the department, they will be able to give you that information on options that you can apply for in order to help you study at that particular university. The third thing that you can do is contact the professors. When I was studying at the university, I think my professor he had received in 1 year, he had received about 10 million yen in funding for some research. Then he received another 5 million yen. Then he received another 5 million yen. So by the time I was leaving the university, he had about 20 million yen in funding for research that he was doing. And that is just my professor, one professor, right? So you'll find that there are tons of professors everywhere who apply for grants, who are given these grants to carry out particular research programs. And if you get admissions and you do not get funding, and you reach out to a professor explaining the situation, if that professor is interested in your research, that professor sees value in what you are offering, that professor wants you to work at his or her lab or her research, whatever, that professor can say, okay, come in, I have funding, and I'll be able to give you this amount of scholarship. So reach out to the professors and see who has funding that you can avail for your studies. Number four is think about it from a country level. Let's say that you are a student from India, or you're a student from Nigeria, or you're a student from Cameroon, and you want to go study in either Japan or the UK. Think about what are the bilateral relations that have taken place between your country and the study abroad destination. Let's say UK, Pakistan, or let's say Cameroon, Japan, or let's say Nigeria, UK. Most times, countries actually sign agreements between them, and this comes in the form of funding that is provided for students from that country to go study in the other country. When you look around for information about scholarships, these bilateral, one country to the next scholarships are not very famous. Many people do not know about them, many people do not post about them. So it is because it is actually targeting just that particular country, right? So many people are like, it's just one country. We are not necessarily that interested. So the information about these scholarships do not spread as wide as, let's say, scholarships that students from all parts of the world can actually apply to. So do that research to find out if there are any bilateral relations between your country and the country where you have been given admissions. And if there are, apply for those scholarships. And one of the things about these scholarships is that because it's not well known, because all of us who publish content about scholarships, we are not talking about it constantly. We are not raving about it. The competition for those scholarships are pretty low. Not many people are applying. Not many people know about it. So if you do that research and you find those scholarships and you apply for it, the chances that you are going to get it are extremely high. The next thing that you can do is look for corporations in the country where you want to go study and see if those corporations have funding. One thing that this is such a missed opportunity for so many students, because most students do not think about the fact that corporations actually are interested in funding students. People do not think about it, and so students do not apply for it. Let me share with you an example. One of my friends, she's from Iran. She lost her scholarship and she was looking for money to sort of fund her final year of studies. And she was searching around for scholarships. Where are scholarships? Where is money? Then it turns out that there was a corporation that was interested in funding students specifically for Iran. And that money was just lying there because, yes, they had the money. They were not really singing about it everywhere for everyone to know about it. So there was no public information, there was no bulletin board where it was posted. But because she was doing the research, she actually found that this corporation was giving scholarships specifically for students from Iran. So if you have gotten an admission and you are looking for funding, you don't have funding, look for the corporations in the country where you intend to go to and see which of these corporations actually have scholarships for international students. Sometimes they have like a database of the corporations that are giving scholarships, sometimes they do not. You have to do the deep digging by yourself. And most times when you do that deep research, you're going to find that there are some corporations interested in funding scholars from your country, and then you can now apply for it. And same like the one for the bilateral relations, because many people do not know about this, they are not applying. So the competition is very low. So your chances of getting it is very high. If you found this helpful, please do well to give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to this channel. Let me know in the comment section, have you received admissions and you have not gotten funding? Are you in that zone of, oh, Dr. Sylvie, I have admission letters and I do not have funding? If that is you, let us have a chat in the comment section. And since you're here, watch this video because I teach you about my journey to getting 4 fully funded scholarships. I had rejection letters 5 years straight, and then I had an aha moment, and then I started getting scholarships, and everything changed. So if you want to watch my journey, learn from the things that mistakes that I was making, go ahead, watch this video. You're not going to regret it. I'm going to see you all in the next one. Bye.